The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Preface. The history of the tablets translated in the following pages is strange and beyond the belief of modern scientists. Their antiquity is stupendous, dating back 36,000 years BC. The writer is Thoth, an Atlantean priest-king who founded a colony in ancient Egypt after the sinking of the mother country. He was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops. In it, he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom and also securely secreted records and instruments of ancient Atlantis. For some 16,000 years, he ruled the ancient race of Egypt from approximately 52,000 BC to 36,000 BC. At that time, the ancient barbarous race among which he and his followers have settled had been raised to a high degree of civilization. Thoth was an immortal, that is, he had conquered death, passing only when he had willed, and even then not through death. His vast wisdom made him ruler over various Atlantean colonies, including the ones in South and Central America. When the time came for him to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid over the entrance to the great halls of Amenti, placed in it his records, and appointed guards for his secrets from among the highest of his people. In later times, the descendants of these guards became the Pyramid Priests, by which Thoth was deified as God of Wisdom, the Recorder by those in the Age of Darkness which followed his passing. The legend of the halls of Amenti became the underworld, the halls of the gods, where the souls passed after death or judgment. During later ages, the ego of Thoth passed into the bodies of men in the manner described in the tablets. As such, he incarnated 3 times, in his last time being known as Hermes, the thrice-born. In this incarnation, he left the writings known to modern occultists as the Emerald Tablets, a later and far lesser expedition of the ancient mysteries. The tablets translated in this work are 10, which were left in the Great Pyramid in the custody of the Pyramid Priests. The 10 are divided into 13 parts for the sake of convenience. The last 2 are so great and far-reaching in their import that at present it is forbidden to release them to the world at large. However, in those contained herein are secrets which will prove inestimable value to the serious student. They should be read not once, but 100 times, for only thus can the true meaning be revealed. A casual reading will give glimpses of beauty, but more intensive study will open avenues of wisdom to the seeker. But now a word as to how these mighty secrets came to be revealed to modern man after being hidden for so long. Some 1300 years BC, Egypt, the ancient Chem, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the Pyramid Priests, who carried with them the Emerald Tablets as a talisman by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced priestcraft of races descended from the Atlantean colonies. The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from Thoth. The particular group of priests bearing the tablets emigrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race, the Mayas, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. In the 10th century, the Mayas had thoroughly settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. After the conquest of the Mayas by the Spaniards, the cities were abandoned and the treasures of the temples forgotten. It should be understood that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has been and still is a temple of initiation into the mysteries. Jesus, Solomon, Apollonius, and others were initiated there. The writer, who has a connection with the Great White Lodge, which also works through the Pyramid priesthood, was instructed to recover and return to the Great Pyramid the ancient tablets. This, after adventures which need not be detailed here, was accomplished before returning them. He was given permission to translate and retain a copy of the wisdom engraved on the tablets. This was done in 1925, and only now has permission been given for part to be published. It is expected that many will scoff, yet the true student will read between the lines and gain wisdom. If the light is in you, the light which is engraved in these tablets will respond. Now, a word as to the material aspect of the tablets. They consist of 12 tablets of emerald green, formed with a substance created through alchemical transmutation. They are imperishable, resistant to all elements and substances. In effect, the atomic and cellular structure is fixed, no change ever taking place. In this respect, they violate the material law of ionization. Upon them are engraved characters in the ancient Atlantean language, characters which respond to attuned thought waves, releasing the associated mental vibration in the mind to the reader. The tablets are fastened together with hoops of golden-coloured alloy, suspended from a rod of the same material. So much for the material appearance. The wisdom contained therein is the foundation of the ancient mysteries, and for the one who reads this with open eyes and mind, his wisdom shall be increased 100-fold. Read, believe or not, but read, and the vibration found therein will awaken a response in your soul. In the following pages, I will reveal some of the mysteries which as yet have only been touched upon lightly, either by myself or other teachers or students of truth. Man's search for understanding of the laws which regulate his life has been unending, yet always just beyond the veil which shields the higher planes from material man's vision, the truth has existed, ready to be assimilated by those who enlarge their vision by turning inward, not outward in their search. In the silence of the material senses lies the key to the unveiling of wisdom. He who talks does not know. He who knows does not talk. The highest knowledge is unutterable, for it exists as an entity in lanes which transcend all material words or symbols. All symbols are but keys to doors leading to truths, and many times the door is not opened because the key seems so great that the things which are beyond is not visible. If we can understand that all keys, all material symbols are manifestations, are but extensions of a great law and truth, we will begin to develop the vision which will enable us to penetrate beyond the veil. All things in the universe move according to law, and the law which regulates the movement of the planets is no more immutable than the law which regulates the material expressions of man. One of the greatest of all cosmic laws is that which is responsible for the formation of man as a material being. The great aim of the mystery schools of all ages has been to reveal the workings of the law of which connects man to the material and man to the spiritual. The connecting link between the material man and the spiritual man is the intellectual man, for the mind partakes of both the material and the immaterial qualities. The aspirant for higher knowledge must develop the intellectual side of his nature and so strengthen his will that he is able to concentrate all powers on his being and in the plane he desires. The great search for light, life and love only begins on the material plane. Carried to its ultimate, its final goal is complete oneness with the universe consciousness. The foundation in the material is the first step, then comes the higher goal of spiritual attainment. In the following pages I will give an interpretation of the emerald tablets and their secrets, hidden and esoteric meanings. Concealed in the words of Thoth are many meanings that do not appear on the surface. Light of knowledge brought to bear upon the tablets will open many new fields for thought. Read and be wise, but only if the light of your own consciousness awakens the deep-seated understanding which is an inherent quality of the soul. Tablet 1. The History of Thoth the Atlantean. I, Thoth the Atlantean, Master of Mysteries, Keeper of Records, Mighty King, Magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after, those records of the mighty wisdom of great Atlantis. In the great city of Kjör, on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation, not as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from aeon to aeon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenta, where the river of life flows eternally onward. 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into the light, and as many times have I ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power renewed. Now for a time I descend, and the men of Kem shall know me no more. But in a time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O men of Kem, if ye have falsely betrayed my teachings, for I cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence you came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon ye. Remember and heed my words, for surely I will return again, and require of thee that which ye guard. Aye, even from beyond time, and from beyond death will I return, rewarding or punishing, as ye have acquainted your trust. Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people now around me, knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity knowledge that belonged to the earth's youth. Wise were we with the wisdom of the children of light who dwelt among us. Strong were we the power drawn from the eternal fire. And all of these, greatest among the children of men, was my father, Thoth, keeper of the great temple, link between the children of light who dwelt within the temple and the races of men who inhabited the 10 islands, mouthpiece after the 3 of the dweller of Unal, speaking to the kings with the voice that must be obeyed. Grew I there from a child into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries, until in time there grew within the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. Naught desired I but the attainment of wisdom, until on a great day the command came from the dweller of the temple that I brought before him. Few there were among the children of men who had looked upon the mighty face and lived, for not as the sons of men are the children of light when they are not incarnate in a physical body. Chosen was I from the sons of men, taught by the dwellers so that his purposes might be fulfilled, purposes yet unborn into the womb of time. Long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever and yet even more wisdom, until I too approached the light emitted from the great fire. Taught me he the path to Amenti, the underworld where the great king sits upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of life and the lords of death, receiving as my gift the key of life. Free was I from the halls of Amenti, bound not by death to the circles of life. Far from the stars I journeyed until space and time became as naught. Then, having drunk deep of the cup of wisdom, I looked into the hearts of men, and there I found the greater mysteries, and was glad, for only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled and the flame within be quenched. Down through the ages I lived, seeing those around me taste of the cup of death, and return again in the light of life. Gradually, from the kingdoms of Atlantis, passed waves of consciousness that had been one with me, only to be replaced by spawn of a lower star. In obedience to the law, the word of the Master grew into flower. Downward into the darkness turned the thoughts of the Atlanteans, until at last in this wrath arose from his great Awante, the dweller, speaking the word, calling the power. Deep in earth's heart the sons of Amenti heard, and hearing, directing the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally, changing and shifting, using the logos until the great fire changed its direction. Over the world then broke the great waters, drowning and sinking, changing earth balance, until only the Temple of Light was left, standing on the great mountain of Undal, still rising out of the water. Some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called to me then the Master, saying, Gather ye together my people, take them by the art ye have learned of far across the waters, until ye reach the land of the hairy barbarians, dwelling in the caves of the desert. Follow there the plan that yet know of. Gathered I then my people, and entered the great ship of the Master. Upward we rose into the morning. Dark beneath us lay the temple. Suddenly it rose over the waters, vanished from earth, until the time appointed was the great temple. Fast we fled toward the sun of the morning, until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging they came with cudgels and spears, lifted in anger, seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Then I raised my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them still in their tracks as fragments of stone of the mountain. Then spoke I to them in words calm and peaceful of the might of Atlantis, saying we were children of the sun and its messengers. Cowed I them to my dispel of magic science, until at my feet they grovelled, when I released them. Long dwelt we in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until obeying the commands of the Master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, I sent from me the sons of Atlantis, sent them in many directions, that from the womb of time wisdom might rise again in her children. Long time dwelt I in the land of Chem, doing great works by wisdom within me. Upward grew into the light of knowledge the children of Chem, watered by the rains of my wisdom. Blasted I then a path to Amenta, so that I might retain my powers, living from age to age, a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom, preserving the records. Great few sons of Chem, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upward in the soul force. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenta, deep in the halls of the earth, before the lords of the powers, face to face once again with the dweller. Raised I, high over the entrance, a doorway, a gateway, leading down to Amenta. Few there would be with courage to dare it, few passed the portal to dark Amenta. Raised over the passage I a mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes earth's force. Deep and yet deeper placed I force house or chamber. From it carved I a circular passage reaching almost to the great summit. There in the apex set I the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenta. Other chambers I built and left vacant to all seeming, yet hidden within them are the keys of Amenta. He who in courage would dare the dark realms, let him be purified first by long fasting. Lie in the sarcophagus of stone in my chamber, then reveal I to him the great mysteries. Soon shall he follow to where I shall meet him, even in the darkness of earth shall I meet him. I, Thoth, Lord of Wisdom, meet him and hold him and dwell within him always. Built I the great pyramid, patterned after the pyramid of earth force, burning eternally so that it too might remain through the ages. In it I built my knowledge of the magic science, so that I might be here when again I return to Amenta. I, while I sleep in the halls of Amenta, my soul roaming free will incarnate, dwell among men in this form or another. Emissary on earth am I the dweller, fulfilling his command so many might be lifted. Now return I to the halls of Amenta, leaving behind me some of my wisdom. Preserve ye and keep ye command of the dweller. Lift ever upwards your eyes towards the light. Surely in time ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the All. Now I depart from ye, Know my commandments, keep them and be them, and I will be with you, helping and guiding you into the light. Now before me opens the portal. Go I down into the darkness of night.